What is up? What is up? Welcome in, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. Bye-week Sunday, second one of the year. Good spot for Nebraska to kind of regroup. Things did not go as expected against Purdue, but chance to get better, chance to improve, and a chance for us to try something new. We're going to have a cast of characters coming in today, and one of them makes me smile. One of them got inducted into the Battle Creek Hall of Fame last night. The other one is joining us here, and if we want to bring him on, there's my guy,
What
the
up?
one and only Jay Foreman. What's good with you?
What's happening, man? Trying to figure out this computer stuff, man. You know how it is.
We all need us older guys. We all need our own tech department, don't we? We just need
man. You even got my hat on crooked, man.
Oh, look at you're not fresh and clean right now. You got to get her tidied up.
Discombobulated this early in the morning. What's happening?
Nothing, man. How you been?
Man, hanging loose, man. Getting this last little heat wave of Nebraska weather. Then we're going to probably be in full winter clothes here within a week. So
we're being the real then.
Yep. You know how it is. So just getting ready for battle.
Are you in the Eden Prairie Hall of Fame?
No, I'm not. Which is weird. They definitely market me to recruit some kids, but I'm not in the Hall of Fame, I don't think so.
Whole reason I asked, one of our guests that may hop on went into the Battle Creek Hall of Fame last night. All 17 people in the town.
Oh, Matt Hoskinson?
Yep. Well, Slim went in.
Oh, see, that lets you know how bad Battle Creek is if he goes in the Hall of Fame. That just lets you know that the level of ineptness in football and the standard that you have to reach is pretty low. So, you know.
Or you wrote a big check.
Yeah, that's probably what he did. He probably did like Shaq did, wrote a check to be a Q Dog. So that's how he got in the Hall of Fame.
The inside workings of Shaq. We'll be joined by Jay today. Damon Benning allegedly supposed to join us. Aaron Taylor's probably trying to figure out how to get into the thing. And then Haas, if he has time, he had a big night last night at Battle Creek. I'm sure they went and tore it up. But my guy Jay's with us. Jay, we got a question right out of Twitter out of the gate. Big sign last night. Malachi Coleman hopping in with Nebraska, decided to stay in state. How valuable you think that is for the team to get him to kind of show that, hey, we can lock down the state of Nebraska and the high end talent, we'll get it.
Yeah, I think it's good, for Nebraska all the way around. I come from the mindset of, even when kids, tend to pick other schools, I still think it's good for Nebraska. Obviously, as long as Nebraska's in the running, I think because the more eyes and attention that you can get to the state of Nebraska, I think eventually will send more people down to Lincoln. So, but as far as Malachi Coleman goes, I think it's good. I think it's really good in the sense of he's a local talent. I think he's a top 75 recruit, or something like that, kind of depending on whatever the services are that you're looking at. It's from a political standpoint, it's good to get him to commit here. And it's also, I think it's even bigger that he still stayed or he committed even without, knowing who's going to be the full-time coach. So, I think he could commit it to the school and the situation and understands that, obviously his decision is best for him is to be here in Nebraska. So I think it's good for everybody. It's good for him because I think he's a kid that probably needs to be as close to his home as possible. I think, Mickey's a head coach or he's back as a, associate receiver coach or whatever. He's probably the perfect coach for Malachi. So now that decision's over. Now the work starts to, really get in, and so I think it's good. I think it's good for everybody. I think it's a decision that everybody kind of was waiting around. Everybody probably assumed that he was going to, commit to, Nebraska, but until they, I guess in this case, pull out the hat, then you won't know. But I think it was a good day for Nebraska, especially during the bye week. I'm sure they were out recruiting and stuff like that. And, the positivity that they're able to, continue along as they're still, even if they went and saw recruits and then they're, checking back in with them through the weekend and, every recruit is watching, what happens at Nebraska. I think it's a positive.
It is, and he's got the measurables, right? He's got everything you're going to look for. He's got speed. He's got height. Now it's cleaning up all the rest of that. It's one thing I've run across in coaching. It's making sure conceptually kids are learn the plays, know what's going on. Position you used to play, linebacker, played it really well. Very accoladed linebacker, Nebraska. I think could benefit from that as well. What if you're going to rate Nebraska's linebacker play for this season? What grade letter would you put it at so far?
Oh man, that's tough. I'd probably say a C. Maybe, and that's just because
It'd be
I'll take
hard.
I'll take the factor in of injuries. This is a new position for just say in particular Nick and Luke, where like last year they could kind of because even though Luke had started a few games the year before,
Mm-hmm.
he never really had answered the bell yet, and then Nick was kind of not kind of at the beginning of spring last year, he was behind Will Honus and I think that Snodgrass was kind of like ahead of him, but then obviously he leapfrogged them pretty well. So look, you had two new starters last year that could make an easy transition with a veteran-led defense. So I wouldn't say it was easier for them to perform last year, but the situation was a lot easier for them to kind of go in. And even if they made mistakes, you had guys that were good enough and been in this system long enough, or in Shenander's system long enough that they could clean up. And so now you fast forward to this year where they both had two decent years last year, where teams are starting to focus on them because we lost I think 5 or 6 D linemen to either graduation or transfer portal, or Thomas pretty much quit. So now they're being game planned for, and so I think they started off a little bit slow, but I think they started to kind of catch their rhythm, and then they just kind of been back and forth as far as who's hurt or missing games. So there's some things that that they could probably clean up, that like everybody across the board as a team. So I think they probably played about a C, but they played hard. But I think it's just some things that they could get better at. But I think like when you play against a team like Purdue, when you go back and look at it, Purdue does this. Here's what everybody thinks: Purdue. They think Purdue has this like sophisticated passing game. It's not.
Yeah.
From a defensive standpoint, what they do is they window dress you. For people out there, what they do is they'll shift the motion, they'll line up in one formation, get to the original or formation that they want to get to, and run the same plays or same concepts, and see if you can adjust and communicate, and then execute. And Nebraska didn't execute. That's how they were able to, have 180 yards from one running back, with only his most explosive play was an 18-yard run. Is they outnumbered you by formation. So what that let me know is the pre-snap communication needed to be better. The execution and the knowing that either the passing tree or the concepts of the running attack that they were trying to attack them with needed to be a little bit better. And so that's where you saw more yards after contact. It wasn't that Nebraska wasn't physical, right, or not playing hard. Is that when you're a step or two, either by alignment or by bad footwork or anything like that, out of place, you're not going to be able to strike the running back, or you're not going to be able to cover the receiver, as crisp or as effectively. And that's what Purdue did. And now when you look at Purdue just yesterday against Wisconsin, it's a totally different team.
Mm-hmm.
Offense, where Wisconsin won't make those mistakes. And so
right.
I think that I'm always going to be harder on the inside linebackers, because I feel like you guys they have the hardest position on the field, but you're supposed to be able to control the tempo like that. They're kind of like the quarterback of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they were as a C. But I think that coming out of a bye week, and try to get some guys more reps and be a little bit better, I think they'll play well against Illinois.
Everything in that too is fixable. Like I was trying to find when such a difference in plays run 101 to 52 in a game. Can you imagine?
No, yeah. I mean, I think I played a game I think I played a game when I was in Houston. Pittsburgh Steelers had over 100 plays. We ended up winning the game, and our Texan offense only had like 23 yards of total offense, because Pittsburgh seemed like they had like 50 sacks, and I think they only ran like 39 plays. But when you're scoring rather quickly, like we were, you got to be able to do it. You got to be able to handle it. And the reason why Purdue had 101 plays is because we didn't do well on third down. Now you say, why didn't we do well on third down? Well, it's the things that I just mentioned before. Instead of defending Purdue at a 3rd and 2, if you did the things that I just mentioned in 1st and 2nd down, now you have Purdue at maybe like 3rd and 6.
Right.
Maybe you force them into a bad pass. And so that's where the cause and effect is really hurt Nebraska. One of the plays that was really, really huge that led to Purdue's first touchdown is the first play of the game. Purdue ran a screen, or one of them they ran a screen. The first missed tackle was 2 yards in the backfield, total whiff by the cornerback. Right? They had and Nebraska defensive lineman came out of the stack pretty decently. Nick Heinrich got over there, missed the tackle. I think, Ty Robinson missed the tackle. Gifford kind of missed the tackle by technical terms, but slowed him down. But then you got 16 plays later. See, that's a play that when, as a defensive coordinator and as a linebacker, that play or that call for that play, you're thinking at worst it's a 2-yard gain. But when you have it dead to the right in the backfield, you got to make those plays, right?
Yes.
Or 6-yard gain.
Have to.
So that went from the 25-yard line to the 41-yard line. And Verge, from coaching high school, that's where you think, okay, I can be more aggressive. We're actually playing with house money. We gotta play 4 times as long or 4 times as many yards that we expected. And then you kind of get a first down here or there. Then you get down to the goal line, right? So then they get down to the goal line. They came out with a trips formation. And then just flip the running back over to now you're in a full flood formation, or just by formation alone, you got 4 receivers to one side of the ball. And then you saw Nebraska's defensive back. They were confused pre-snap. They were confused, like, let's say mid pre-snap. And then when the ball was snapped, they were confused. And then Sheffield caught it right between the safeties.
Yep.
So in the red zone, what people don't understand is the communication in the red zone needs to be from top down. That means from the 3rd level, 2nd to the 1st, right? And so when that confusion is there, regardless if I see you running around, I can sense it. And what people don't understand is when you're on the road at Purdue, the crowd noise isn't a factor because they want to be quiet. So that's creating confusion. So those are the things that are all fixable. And I think even once we start talking about the offensive side of the ball is fixable as well, in the sense of, when you look at it is, can we get from, 4 guys blocking it well and not having one guy completely whiff on a simple rush, and that's where we're at, and because soon as say like me and you say you're the center, I'm the guard, right?
Nice.
And you block your guy, well, here's what we'll do. You're the center. I'm the guard. Hoskinson's the other guard, and most likely Hoskinson would whiff.
We'll whiff. Yeah, we'd be good. We'd be good. He would miss.
There was 4 plays where Casey had, which would have been a clean pocket by 4 other guys. Had really good block by the helping with the running back, and one guy whiffed.
Yep.
And you get guys in his face, and then everybody's like, well, the offensive line is terrible. Well, when you really dive into the details and watch the tape, that's what happens not only in the pass game, but in the run game. And when you completely whiff, that's on the offense. That's on the personnel, right? Because sometimes you can completely whiff if you're short setting and you overextend yourself. There's one where I forget who it was, the right guard tried to stab, but his feet went dead. Then he, lunged. So then he became instead of being a knee bender, he was a waist bender. The head went down, just got swam. I think he got up and either hit Casey or just really affected the whole flow of the play. Those are things that come from experience, but then also leaning back on your fundamentals. So if they can really sit back and just say, hey, look, let's compete. And if we get beat, we can deal with that. But let's not beat ourselves. I think you'll see, not only the offense play better, but the team play better as a whole because the drives will be extended. The defense will play better. But then they'll start winning some games down the stretch here because it's all fixable. It's not like, of course, you think that, you like the talent to be better and all that, but you're not. Look, this isn't the NFL free agency. You're not going to go out and get talent right now. So I think of the guys that really, if you want to play football and you all were recruited for a reason, then go out there and just execute. And if you're going to get beat, but don't beat yourself by not doing the simple things of fundamentals and communication. I think Nebraska would be fine.
Those little errors like that, it doesn't seem like, well, all right, you got 5 guys blocking, one of them misses. The method of the miss that you did a good job of explaining. If what Jay went over, what his stab was, is I'm just going to be aggressive. We're going to be in a pass set, but I'm going to try to throw this defender a curveball. I'm going to attack him instead of setting back on it. When you go to attack and you whiff, like if you're going to take that shot in the attack mode, you better not miss, because if you miss, it's going to go bad real quick. You can get beat in phases, right? So say you get back in your pass set and you lose a little bit of leverage where they get a hold of your jersey or something. There's tricks and tips you can do to do those things. And then so much of it is just effort. Like, hey, I did miss there. That didn't work. Okay, let's go into this mode where I can try to take my hand and give him a dead hip. I can try to sucker punch him in the ribs, something. But I can't give up on this. Hopefully, if Casey sees this happens, that he can step up in the pocket as I'm trying to run him past. But it's as Mickey and crew have done things, like you can see improvement in certain areas and things that they've done. It's just it's the progress they've made in a short amount of time kind of makes you wonder, okay, if we get this other off week, what does this team look like on the back end of this season? Because now you're getting into the beef of it. Now you're getting into Illinois, who Bielema has done a good job. You got Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa. Like that's a man's finish. Like, you better be ready to play some smash mouth football in that.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is as much as Purdue stressed you on, I guess, conceptually, mentally stressing you on as far as, pre-snap alignment, the 3 A's: alignment, assignment, being aggressive, primarily in the pass game, obviously. Now you're going to get the same thing down the stretch from all these teams down the back end here. Can you line up correctly? When they come out and they're running, say they're running power, inside, outside zone, but just a little bit of different formation. Maybe they have an offset fullback versus a tight end in the wing. Maybe they, maybe they, flip the formation or shift the formation and then, go back to, 12 personnel, or do they have 12 personnel with one of them extended, running the same plays, trying to get you to do the same thing over and over and over? And then can you line up and execute and then beat a block from a physicality standpoint with running backs that are going to come downhill? Where, we got this week, we got Chase Brown, then we got Muhammad the next week, and then you got the guy, from Michigan. Iowa's always going to have a running back. So I think it's just one of those things that, it's an easy game to prepare for. For me, would be like, hey, this is a game of physicality. I think, like, hey, it's a chance to make a lot of plays. It's going to test everything that I've been, supposedly working on. And then you just go from there, and you'll be, then you'll be able to play. But then it takes 11 guys to be in it. And it's just like we talked about the offense, right? Don't be that guy. Well, you can't be that guy on defense if you're the alley player coming slow out of the, the deep, say a quarter coverage or a deep third, and you're coming down and you're supposed to be the alley player filling up against, say, like Braylon Allen or somebody. You can't come in there half stepping.
No.
Right. And you can't come in there and it can't be any guesswork, and that's no different. We can't, do I want to lay into him this time? Okay, I did it, 2 quarters ago and I had a good hit. Well, I'm not going to do it now. Next thing you know, you whiff and he even hits his head on the goalpost. Now everybody's saying, oh, the defense is horrible. It's the same old stuff. We didn't tackle on practice. No, you can't be that guy. And so I think that's what's, ahead of Nebraska. And there's an old saying, it's, what you need to do. The hard thing is going out and making the sacrifices to put yourself in a situation to play well and remedy the situation. And it starts this week. It starts with practice. So if they take their right mindset, Illinois is definitely beatable. I mean, Indiana beat them, and so they're beatable. And it's not like it's not like this is Alabama's offense. From the with Mark Ingram and then with 3 first-round picks coming in. They're just a well-coached, physical type of outfit. They got some big tight ends, and they got a running back that can seep through the holes and runs behind his pads. And he's got a great build for his offense. When you're like 5'10", 215, he's got some speed, got really good balance, can catch out of the backfield. But if you get penetration and hit him first, you can stymie this running attack. But you got to do it over and over and over again. And you saw Indiana do it in the first game. And you do that by having an offense that's not only consistent, but spreads Illinois out. Because if you try to get in the phone booth with Illinois, that's what they want. That's what they practice against every day. And that's not going to work out well for Nebraska.
Yeah, a couple things that Jay touched on as he was kind of laying some stuff out there for everybody. Whenever you set up your formation, you're going to determine which side your strength is, right? So Nebraska then will combat that with putting their bigger or better, who they feel as their better defenders over there. Then when you trade that, right, you're going to move that tight end, you're going to move the H-back, you're going to move something over to try to get it to run against your other guy. And in the 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, that's kind of how you're able to manipulate a defense. And those are things that Nebraska has to adjust to. And the guys that are on those sides have to take that personally. Like if you don't want to trade, or if you don't want to give up yards, you got to take it personal when they trade to your side. They trade the formation over to you. You got to roll.
This is a huge game for, like Ty Robinson, Colton Feast.
Oh, we're losing you, buddy.
You kind of know what you're going to get out of Garrett. And can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good now.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a big boy game. You're gonna. This is Garrett Nelson. Ty Robinson and Colton Feast and Wynn and Drew. This is a game. Even Nash. This is a game that you should be looking forward to. One, to test yourself, but then 2, to prove yourself. And what this defensive line needs to do, don't submarine yourself and kind of, leap off the line of scrimmage, and you kind of like look like you're trying to be physical, but you're not, being violent when you're trying to throw off blocks and get there to the play. These guys are plenty strong. They're plenty big. You just got to play with a different, mindset, and it all work itself out.
Yep. Ready to add him? Bring him on. Another former teammate joining us today. I don't know where he went. He's been in and out. He's just he doesn't want to show us his face. He doesn't want to get. Hey, everybody, welcome into Husker Hangover this Sunday morning. Damon Benning. David.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're hacking up a lung over there.
No, listen, this is the funniest thing ever. Is there anything more DB than me doing this Zoom, giving Zoe a bath, knowing good and well we got to get to a game?
Hey man, we ain't that kind of show, dude. We ain't that kind of show.
Oh, Jay, I know you've been there, man. You got to rally. You got to get the troops ready. I'm K Solo here this morning, man. It is tough. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
We're all good in the hood over here.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're busy, dude. We can do this another time.
You're certainly doing better than me. What's going on, man?
I knew something was up when you came on the little thing and you barely saw the top of your head. I was like, what is this dude doing?
Listen, man, I'm multitasking, Maddie. I'm multitasking.
We are good, Jay. Jay's been dropping some knowledge on.
No, I've been listening, man. I like. So you know what I thought of when he was talking about getting out of the corner or the alley, getting downhill. I thought about what
you loved it.
Yeah, I thought about what you said Friday about bringing 2 ass cheeks. Like,
yeah,
there's that 2 ass cheeks that wouldn't be half stepping, would it? That's getting downhill and getting where you need to be.
Man, there's the old saying, you bring your, I won't say what you bring. You bring your elbows, your other, and your knees and all that when you come in there. You know what I'm saying?
You could say it. We're on the internet.
Yeah, you bring assholes, elbows, or whatever. What did you bring up in there, man? So hey, I'm gonna tell you a story, man. Before I get off of here, and it is kind of like when we play against Illinois, and I remember this. One of my good friends from the NFL, his name is Marlon McCree. And he played at Kentucky, but he kind of played like a linebacker rover. But he played safety for us in Houston, and he had a run in Eddie George when he was at Jacksonville. And I didn't particularly care for Eddie George because I always find something to kind of get going. And when I play against him, I used to kind of get in his head and say, "Man, you shouldn't even have won the Heisman." Because I always said. So Damon, I'm already on point. It's the rivalry. The Tennessee Titans, the Houston Texans, and so we're trying to get an edge. Man, we're on 9-on-7, and I'll never forget this. It's Dom Capers, the coach, and it was Wednesday. It was either Wednesday,
I had
Wednesday or
Dom.
Thursday, and it's a heavy work day. Marlon McCree comes out of defensive backs. You know, they do their drills, and he coming down there. He said, "Hey, look." He comes in here. He gets in front of the huddle. I'm like, "Man, what the hell are you doing up in here?" He said, "Look, this is Eddie George week, man. You better get your asshole tight. We bringing it." Hey, man. Hey, man. So we about to go out to the game, right? And you know, you do the pregame speeches and stuff like that. We say we're gonna let Marlon do it because it was personal with him. He's like, "Hey, man, we getting right to it. We ain't doing no foreplay. We get right to the game, man." But yeah, when you play against Illinois, man, it's a challenge. I know Damon's a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. When you play teams like Illinois, and like Pittsburgh Steelers, when I was playing, you got to start getting ready for them right now. And as hard as it is to play against them, right, where you're facing the conceptual that you could get embarrassed, right, by letting Chase Brown run for 200 yards, or you physically could get embarrassed, say you get ran over or blown up by a lineman. That they're actually, once you play in these games, and if you come with the right mindset through preparation, you're like, these are easy games to play for. So hopefully they take that mindset and they'll be fine when come Saturday 2:30.
Hey,
Jake,
what do you guys think makes that gap scheme so hard for Illinois, that run game?
Execution and hand being violent with your hands. I think that if you're a team that tries to come off the ball and play on an edge, then that gap scheme, that's what it's for. They're going to gap you and they're going to kill you. And when you have a running back like Chase Brown, who can hit you just as quick front side and backside, and they block their backside as well as anybody in the Big Ten. And if so, sometimes, Damon, you coach, high school, and same with you, Vert. Sometimes guys on the backside, whether they're offensive linemen or defensive linemen, they fall asleep. Against Illinois, you can't be asleep. You gotta think, I'm backside, I'm gonna own the backside, and I'm gonna go make a play, because the backside defense, defensive lineman, DN, outside linebacker, or backside linebacker.
Their feet are way good. Their feet, and they have confidence in what they run. I bet they don't have but 3 blocking schemes.
Listen, the thing that I like, you guys, is that they're so violent, and it's not even really what I would. It's not a finesse style, but it's more about angles and striking than it is removal and brute force. But they're still violent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do that. You know what they do that? They want to get into you, and then they want to finish you, and then they run a little bit of a finesse scheme, but they're doing it violently. You know what they're trying to do? Really, to be honest with you, this is what, well, in theory, what Scott was saying. This is what they wanted to do. This is kind of what Scott would have said his offense was going to be like. Not play for play, but in theory, finesse plays with a physical mentality and a physical execution, and they're running it good. And that, look, anytime a head coach can come in and say that, our offensive linemen are horrible, and get the same guys to be playing at all Big Ten level the next year, he's coaching the offensive line pretty good, because I think the people don't understand the call to over the.
I think we're losing Jay there.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Now you're back.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this real quick. I think people don't understand. Last year when they went to Penn State and won in that sleepy game, and he kind of he criticized the pass recruiting and the offensive line depth, but they took it, and he was accountable for it. They beat Penn State. That was a program changing win for him in the short term. That was all buy-in. And
absolutely.
Now you're seeing the fruition. It's the same players, pretty much same linemen. And I know they had one guy, get drafted, but it's the same line, the same room, same mentality. But they're just better at what they're doing. They really believe in, the one thing about Illinois, and you look at Brett Bielema, right? Damon, you'll see him down on the field. My man has not missed a steak dinner and potatoes.
Yeah, he's grown quite a bit, man.
He drinking a lot of them Busch Lights too.
But you can't tell him that he. But you can't tell him he don't look good. And what I'm saying is, here's the analogy. Illinois, right?
Yep.
Look, hey, the uniforms aren't.
Weird, Jay.
But you know what? They say blue and orange look pretty dang good on us, and we're gonna go out there and show you how pretty we are.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
do.
gonna let you roll with Damon, man. I'm about to bounce.
All right, buddy. Have a good one. Be good. Thanks for coming in, Jay.
I think three of us on here is probably too much. All right, man.
You're just like,
Oh man.
never a dull moment. Never a dull moment with Jay Foreman.
No, man.
Hey,
no.
all right. Here's a question for you, DB. Jacob asked, does the signing of Malachi mean this is Mickey's job?
Not necessarily. I mean, because I think Mickey was pretty honest, right? Like, it's going to be his choice whether he wants to be at Nebraska or not. And he's got the third year. You know, Malachi, Maddie, was the one that pretty much reiterated what we already knew, right? Mickey's got a third option. And regardless of what the brass does in terms of hiring, Mickey's going to have first right of refusal. And I think if it's Mickey or if it's another head coach, they would be smart to keep Mickey around. And so I think that's just one and the same. And you know this because
you have to keep Mickey around.
You do. And he's such a professional.
Man.
He's going to do his job regardless.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he you know, he's going to be there. If he thinks there's only one way for him to do things, and it's with his foot on the gas.
Yeah, it's the signing of Malachi, to me, Malachi Coleman out of Lincoln East, for those listening at home, means you got to have, you are very trusting in your developmental program, because I think he does have a ton of talent, but there's a lot that's got to be worked on. But then it also, to me, means Mickey will be around in some way, shape, or form with the program, because I think that's going to be a tough sell if you're the one selling, yeah, I'll develop you, I'll teach you all this, all that. And so that, to me, in whatever shape, hopefully as the head coach, in my opinion, I'm in the camp of the Dabo Sweeney mold. It's like, hey, Mickey, you're going to be the head coach. You're going to be our main recruiter salesman of the program. Here's 1.5 for an OC. Here's 1.5 for a DC. Go find good young ones. Go find guys that have a black book of coaches that we can get a recruiter out of Texas, a recruiter out of Florida, a recruiter up in Pennsylvania area, and a recruiter in the Rust Belt. And that's good. We ain't going west no more, unless it's just a freak that has a tie here. We'll hit Arizona, but take me this way and south, and we'll that's where our recruiting beds will be. That would be the model I would go after if I was in that position, but I am not.
Well, and here's the thing, though. You know, with Mickey, wherever he wants to recruit, he's going to recruit. So the regional stuff is like almost secondary, not necessary. But you know, the beautiful thing about it, though, Maddie, is Mickey is of the mindset that he has to take care of, that he wants to take care of the Midwest, right?
Right.
Did I lose you?
Nope, you're good. Keep going.
Oh, you know, and so I think with him, he's always recruiting. I was telling the story last week to a couple of guys that, you know, we tried to, it was a mad dash to get down to the workout facility at the hotel. Right. It's kind of small, and, you know, there's a lot of guys. And so, you know, I tried to get down there early, and Mickey's already on the treadmill. And, you know, it's Central Standard Time, and it's probably it's Eastern Time. So it's probably 7:40, maybe 7:30, something like that. And, you know, he's on the phone calling recruits, knowing good and well that they played on Friday night. Mm-hmm. So he gets around to Malachi. He's like, oh, you know, I'm going to get his ass up. You know, he called him a couple times, and it's early. And if I'm Malachi, shoot, I wouldn't have been up either, right? It's probably 7 and something his time. And, you know, I'm just listening to him talk and walk through, and are you ready for next week? And how did the game go? And then he moves on to the next recruit, and then he moves on to the next recruit. And then, you know, he's making 6 or 7 calls. And Maddie, some of these guys haven't even had breakfast yet. You know, it's like, he's working before we get out of rim, and that's just who he is. It's refreshing to watch because you and I have talked. It's just a grinder's job, right? There's nothing. The fan base and the finances and the facilities make it sexy, but it's grimy. I think if you want to really, really be good at it.
Yeah, you have to. It's one of the few professions where you can still actually go and outwork people if it's your MO, right? And the reason I say that is because some things you can just go and have something captive, and you're like, all right, I got this. Nobody else does. Give me my money. But this coaching, you can go out relationship people.
Yep.
And man, did you get a call from Coach Jones? That crazy mug called me at 5:30 in the morning. Like, he's up working already. Like, that guy is driven. He wants it to be good. He wants it to be better. He's in it. And then that relationship that you build, people want to boil recruiting into something hard. It's not. It's does that young man or woman, if it's a different sport, do they trust you? Do they think that you're going to have their best interest at heart? I mean, that's what it is.
Hey, how much do you think he should have gotten paid to get Nebraska to a place emotionally where they're at right now, where they hang in games and they compete?
How much do I think Mickey should have got paid?
You know what I mean?
Oh, listen. Now, come on. We are not silly enough to know there isn't dirty deals going on behind the scenes. Like, there's money coming in behind that. Like, hey man, if you can get us here, here's just some cash.
Hey, Matty.
I got you. All right, joining us now, David. AT. These dudes try to figure out technology, man. It's been fun this morning. And
I had to come outside. Can you hear me?
I got you. Yeah, you're great.
Oh man, I had to come outside in the truck.
Yeah?
Kids. I got kids running around, grandkids running around.
You grandpa.
Dude, what's going on, man? It's nuts.
You changing diapers and shit?
No, I don't do that. I don't do that anymore. No, I'm done, man. They look at me and yeah, it's you go see mom and dad.
Well, I don't know if you can see it, but I think Damon's still on. DB, are you still here? No, he's not here. Damon was bathing his child.
I've got grandkids, and these guys are still having kids, man. What's their problem?
Well, you know what they got. I mean, if I had one of them, I'd do it too.
Not me, man. I'm done. I'm done.
Perfect timing here, AT. Fred Fisher asks, how much of the O-line struggles are pre-snap, knowing what the defense is trying to do and making the calls to counter, or is it more, here's what we were running, stop it?
Whew.
You think they're thinking too much?
I don't even. Well, I don't even know if they're pre-snap, man. I think this is I'm probably like you, right? I've been asked a million times, hey, what's wrong with the O-line? and I don't know, man. I think one of the frustrating things for me, right? One of the frustrating things for me is that these kids were highly recruited, right? I mean, we're not talking about they're going to go pluck an Aaron Taylor out of Wichita Falls, Texas, that is, he's a 50-50 guy, whether he's going to make it or not. These guys before, and I think, wasn't Corcoran 5-star? Was he a 4-star guy?
Yeah, they're high, 3s and 4s.
But yeah, man, all across the board. And your best player is your walk-on center from Scott.
Yeah.
Right?
I
mean, you're most consistent by far.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Is it pre-snap stuff? Is it audibles? What is it? I think a lot of it is identity, right? What are you going to do? What are you going to be? For us, we knew what that was going to be. And you repped it 1,000 times during, one practice and you did that 4 days a week, and then you went into the game. And I don't know. I don't know if the playbook's so thick that they don't get that done to where they can get really, really, really great at something and then expand upon that after they get it established during a game. I don't know. I wish I knew a little bit more of what what they did, during film session, man, how many times a week, a day did you hear, rip reach, pull overtake, right? Lateral step, your second step down the middle, man. We're damn near 50 years old, Burrs, and when we still know it, right? That's the thing. And so to me, I think the guys are gifted enough. Do some have, well, you and I talked about this a little bit, right? Do some of them have a little bit limited mobility and lateral movement and those kind of things, or hip flexibility and those? We all do. We all have limitations, but find out where they fit, get a damn an identity, and let's go with it, and let's rock and roll with it. I don't know. It's frustrating to me.
It's interesting you bring it up because there is a rhythm, right? Like Braum in that game against Nebraska was just in rhythm. Like he said, okay, we're going to do this. What they do there, we're going here. Now it's going to go do this. This is how we run almost twice as many plays as you, because we've got you under thumb. We know what we're doing. Nebraska at times never seems to be in a rhythm. Like it's like, okay, we're going to try this, and then chuck it deep. And here we go. Trey Palmer, go get it. 237 yards, 7 catches. This is our offense now. This is what we're going to do. But to boil it down and keep it simple, how many times, as you mentioned, did we get yelled at? It's a 6-inch step lateral. It's a 6-inch step, not 8, not 4.
Right, all the time.
You're just like, dude, I got it. Like, I don't have a tape measure out here, but I don't know why
you told me for 4 straight years. Stop. Right? Yeah. You're exactly right. And I don't know. Is that what you do because Trey Palmer's your best player right now?
Well,
I tell you what, the best series I've seen all year long was the first series of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That was a great series, man. You had some inside zone runs, you had some outside zone runs, you had some vertical passing. You were with your tight ends, man. It was a thing of beauty right down the field. And then we come back out, second, third, fourth series, and now Damon. What's Damon doing?
He's bathing his child.
Yeah, he's bathing that baby.
He's bathing.
That's great.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Listen to him.
Go ahead, Damon.
Wait, what do you mean to go ahead? I don't know what I'm doing. Like, isn't your producer supposed to be bringing me in and out? I don't know.
I am. I just wanted to catch you up. See, AT, the beauty of this is our guy Damon will always have somebody, as John says, doesn't DB have a guy for everything? Why doesn't he have a get the kids ready for the day guy? His get the kids ready for the day guy woman is currently not there. So this is real life now for Damon.
Oh, this is
reality. To see what gets done for him on a daily basis with these children. This is awesome.
AT, so last night, it's probably, I don't know, it's late, and she's like, hey, remember I've got to do ACT testing for a couple of my special education students because they get to, kind of test on their own time. And I was like, oh, when's that? She's like, oh, I'm going to try to go early so I can get to Micah's game, so I'm going to do it at 8. If you could have seen the look on my face knowing what this morning was going to entail, I was like,
yeah,
okay.
This isn't good.
No.
David's going to be that dad that he's got Zoe's hair dried now. He's going to take the vacuum cleaner
and do that whole ponytail.
Like, yep, there we go.
Oh, listen, so the funniest thing, and I cut out like 10 minutes ago because I had to get in the truck. I couldn't do her hair. She had to do her own ponytail.
Yeah. Yep. She just looked at you with a look of disgust. Just like,
hey, she shook her head at me and she goes, use the green. She goes, use the green one.
So now, Damon, lesson learned. Yes. When JT gets home, or JC gets home, sorry, JC, you better buy her a nice meal, and you better do a lot of stuff around that house.
Oh man,
you watch every Sunday morning. She's gonna come up with something like, I'm busy. I got something I gotta do this morning. You're on your own. I got to go
like,
to double church.
I'm like, who's taking ACT test at 8 a.m.? But you know that I'm listening to her talk with like the parents and stuff to make it.
I just think
now
this
she's
is
like
great.
the dean of students.
What time are you overcoaching young kids happen?
The game is at 10. We've got to be there by 9, so we're just en route.
So you have 11 minutes. So there are children.
Yeah. I resemble that remark. What do you mean overcoaching?
No, that was a perfect remark. That was fantastic. And he just slid it right in like it was smooth.
Yeah. So I told him I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I was kind of excited because he said we were maybe going to overlap or whatever. And I go, I don't know why I like AT so much, because I think that's one of the guys that I like him a lot more than he likes me in person, because if he talks to you, you're probably fine.
I like you. I text you, right?
Yeah.
No,
I'm not
talking.
Losing you money.
You're losing me money, man. I had to switch to a mom.
He said, right? Go figure. I showed that to Maddie too. I go, this jerk.
Yeah, you got to step up your game there, DB.
Yeah, 21, no good. Go with 30, my man. 38, Jeezy.
Hey, what round are you in? Some playoffs or whatever? What are you doing?
Yeah, so we get our friend if they win. So the Junior Storm, so Hoskinson and those guys are in the other half of the semifinals. They have the Junior Mustangs, so it'll be fun.
So a bunch of old guys trying to make their kids be over.
Hey, you know who's got us all beat, by the way, is Chris Kelsey. His little team in Gretna is pretty good.
Yeah. I ran into Kelsey at Fundrate T. I don't know if you get on ever and see any, like they'll post some little guy football, Rhett plays Rhett Kelsey. I walked up to Kelsey at Fundraiser and I'm like, I kind of looked at him. I said, hey, Rhett's got them hips, doesn't he? And he just got the biggest shit-eating grin on his face. He goes, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Hey, how about
is that the same offer?
Little Vandenbosch got offer?
Yeah.
I doubt he was little.
Well, so he's a sophomore and he's listed. You're probably right. He's listed at 6 foot 180.
Squats.
How big is his head?
Not as big as his daddy's.
Squats about 8 1/4. 75.
Vandenbosch has a slew of them coming up.
Oh, does he really? He coaches too.
Does he? Yeah, I think he's got like 6 kids.
Jesus. God, he got a nice little tribe.
Yeah,
I saw Charlie Wistrom winning awards in soccer. Like, these guys' kids they're doing big things.
Charlie made a extra point or a field goal in a football game.
Yeah. I was like, what the?
Man, you guys are fertile. Yeah.
You got Graham's Graham's youngest.
Well, Graham
coming
up through Gretna. Yeah.
He's gonna. I'm kind of glad they split that high school up, because boy, there's a lot of people out that way. Woo.
I wouldn't be. I think Gretna High is gonna keep a lot of them.
Yeah, I think for at least probably another year or two, I would guess.
Yeah.
AT, how do you like living way out there by no one with no neighbors, man? Is that like right in your wheelhouse?
Dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I got a shop being built right over here, about 40 by 50 shop. It's where all my Husker memorabilia is going to go.
You ever been out there, DB?
No. He was teasing me. This was probably about a year ago, because he knows that I don't know how to use like electric trimmers, and he was out doing some work around the yard. Basically asked me how many limbs would I lose with this piece of equipment.
Yeah, that's fair. I drove out there once. I heard dueling banjos. I turned around.
Yeah. Probably my banjos.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. No, man, I like it. I like it. It's, the nice thing is you come right down from where Tanya and I work, Union Pacific. It's just right down 75. It's quick. It's a lot shorter, because I used to live in West O. You guys know that. And, for us, it's a lot quicker. Then you get out here and it's quiet. And man, we hop on the side-by-sides all the time, go out, hit a couple bars, dinner or whatever, and a couple little local small town bars, and it's great, man. It's nice. I'm about to become that neighbor, right? We're all getting to that age, right, where we live in places, and you see all these quote unquote older guys going out and having issues with, like, I don't know, government and stuff. We got an RV park that's gonna that wants to expand down here, right? This guy wants to expand. He wants to put 20 more RVs, and they're gonna go by my house. Yeah, so I'm about to head up to the old zoning commission, and we're gonna have a little talk too. And I got my little email sent out, and yeah, I'm not happy about that. But
AT, you gonna roll in there with all 3 of your national championship rings and your Outland? Just walk in.
Man,
I just like
Tanya
to have a
does
discussion about this RV park going by my house.
Tanya doesn't want me to talk at all. She's like, let me talk. I'm like, no. We can each talk separately. Yeah.
Hey, so what are you gonna put in the shop?
Oh, well, all my tools, right? I mean, I've got two. Man, I've got
butter knife, spoon.
Man, I'm kind of one of those guys, right? Where I've got I got a couple lawnmowers, a couple zero turns. I've got all of my, we live on 5 acres, so we've got stuff. I got 2 side-by-sides, a couple golf carts.
Jeez.
Yeah, you name it. So
Life is good, man.
No, it's not all me, right? So Mom and Dad come, and we built them a little cabin on the property, and Burr's always going to live there, weren't you, Bur's?
Yeah.
Thanks to you, Burrs, the cabin got started out here.
I know. It was this little mini house. I was like, man, look at this thing, T. I was like, I think I'm gonna buy this. You got an extra acre for me? He goes like this. Oh, about that. He goes, I think my mom and dad just bought that exact one. And I was like, what? I'm like, they bought what?
Yep.
They bought it, threw it out there. I was like, Wayne and D got me.
Yep. We got 2 of them, combined them, man. It's a nice place. It's a super nice place. They've done a good job with it. And so, yeah, then they think they got to buy these little toys and stuff. And I just keep telling them, man, quit buying stuff. We've got to find a place to store it.
Let me ask you guys something before I get out of here. Like, whether it's college or NFL, kind of numbers are down a little bit in terms of scoring. You guys, everybody's blaming bad offensive line play, like over the last 4, 5, 6 years declining, man. Are you guys in on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got too lean and too pretty.
Is that what it is?
Ain't no fat guys out there. They're all lean and look like, oh man, look at this. Like, give me some dude that just don't give a shit. And it's just like, yeah, this is what I look like. I'm about to whoop your ass. That's what's gonna happen.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Right? I mean, that's what it was. I don't know, man. I just want somebody to go be an athlete, right? Remember how good of an athlete Zach Wiegert was? Just an all-around athlete. You get that guy on a basketball, get him on a basketball court, man. He was good. Well, I don't know. To me, just go get an athlete. And I think that's one of the things I remember a lot about Coach Osborne Coach Tenniper was, you get into that open space, right? After you hit your first level, then he said, get in that second level and go be an athlete. Go be an athlete. And he just preached that. Yep. And yeah, man, it's you get a bunch of these guys that they get out there and they start looking robotic, like Rob Zadishka.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
But you had, like, everybody had an athletic background. We all played other sports. You played
all other sports.
I mean, you were a soccer guy.
Yeah, I was a soccer guy. One of the things that was crazy to me was how good of golfers all the linemen were. Yeah. Back. Well, you remember we had the lineman golf tournament every year, right? You got the trophies put together and everything. Looks like BB's awesome. Off, but yeah, man, it was amazing to me how athletic everybody was, and I just you just don't have that feeling that it's the same way right now.
It's hard when you're destined for one location, right? If you start to play football and you're going to do these things, then it's just like, hey, I'm going to be a lineman forever. And it's like, well, You got to be able to get out and do something else. You need to go wrestle. You need to go play rugby. You need to go soccer if you can. Start a big soccer guy league. Like
Well, that's one of the things we did, right? We did indoor soccer. Remember doing the indoor soccer? How great was that?
It was fun.
Yeah,
it was cardio without learning you were doing cardio because
right.
Like, we get it. You're beefy and lovable, but we got to knock some weight off of you. Like,
Yep.
Racquetball. I think I'm gonna probably have to try to start a racquetball league for the linemen at Scott, just to get lateral motion.
Man, that you know what, man, Verzal, how to kind of tell the people about that, man, because that's one of the things. That's one of the sports that we used to play a lot.
Yeah,
and so helpful, so helpful.
So in the old North Stadium, above the freshman locker rooms, which we were all a part of and have many a story about, but they had racquetball courts. And so for us, when we wanted to or needed to, it was we would play cutthroat, which when we were being lazy, we'd play some cutthroat because that way we didn't have to run around as much. And there was two guys trying to hit one guy at the time. But then when it got personal or somebody run their mouth, one of the DBs or a running back or somebody be like, yeah, come on in here. We're gonna whoop you up real quick. But it's just such a good game. An undersold part of offensive line is hand-eye coordination. And you had it all. You had lateral motion, you had explosiveness, because if you had to get up to a wall quick to hit a ball, you had to do it. You had spatial awareness. Like if I don't know where I'm at on the court, I'm going to run into a wall that is not going to give much. And then the hand-eye, I've just been like, I got to stretch out, lay out, hit this thing somehow, and then rally back. But in being competitive, those things were awesome. It was a very easy, valuable tool for us to become better.
Yeah. To me, the lateral movement that you had was you were just doing it, and the explosiveness, whether it was moving forward, moving back.
Yep.
And whether it was the anticipation, right? Knowing where you're going to go and try to anticipate it and keep your mind sharp, knowing that, hey, man, I know Verge likes to hit the left corner. I'm going to go. Yeah. I'm going to anticipate that and get it up there, right? There's a lot of that in the game of football, right? Anticipating where that guy's going to be based upon the movement in the backfield or how the QB rolls out, whatever that is, right? But it keeps your mind sharp. It keeps you doing football type activities during the off season when a lot of that was done during what they term it, active rest.
Yeah,
active. After the bowl game before we started in off season weights and so active rest,
voluntarily mandatory. You can not show up. That's fine. We'll know that. You're like, okay, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Well, T-Bone, we are graced to be in the presence of the newest member of the Battle Creek.
Hey, you fighting with the Battle Creek.
The one and only.
That's all I wanted to see. That's why I did that.
That's what you get.
That's how long Haas's fingers are. Hi, buddy.
Yeah, just like that. What's up, Haas? There you go.
I just asked Verz. I said, "Is that Uncle Fester he's talking to, or who is that?" Remember that?
Hey, you look good. You look good up there on stage. I was flipping through Facebook, saw your wife posted a nice little tribute to you.
It was fun, guys. It was pretty cool.
Did you have to use a step stool to get over the podium?
I jumped.
Look over?
I just jumped.
Is that what it was? You look good though.
They brought a stair up for me so I could reach the microphone. Oh, that's not funny. That's not what the people want to hear.
Over under line of the night, and I can't remember the name of the bar in Battle Creek. I'm sure.
Fighting River, baby.
Fighting River, baby.
Fighting River. Over under is 49. How many beers did you have?
No, honestly, long story short, Luke's game Friday, all the events yesterday. Jake plays today at noon. I fly out tonight for our national sales meeting in Orlando. So there were 0 beers consumed during the Hall of Fame event.
Lie.
No, 0. Not even one. Which is, I know, you would have probably lost a bet had you made a bet on that.
Well, I did bet it.
No beers were drank.
None.
Yeah.
All right.
0. I'm just saying.
Let's just get rid of this guy. Thanks for coming, Haas.
All right.
See ya.
I got a little connection to Fighting River. Tanya's aunt.
Oh yeah, that's right. You married a Battle Creek chick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she works up there at the old Fighting River. She's kind of the mainstay. Well, Shirley.
Yeah,
See, we've got
exactly.
Yeah,
Haas,
well,
we
Shirley.
got
That's Tanya's aunt. She's been up there. Shoot, I don't think she's ever going to retire. Well, yeah, she just goes up there to hang out and
Shirley
slide
lets me
some.
go behind the bar when I go home. She lets me go behind the bar. I don't serve. I don't really help her. I just get to stand behind the bar.
Hey, by the way, you look good standing next to Todd Euler. Yeah, your boy.
Hey, he looked
Your
good,
boy.
didn't he?
Man, that guy wears me out. Instagram, posing half naked, showing his juiced up muscles.
Yeah,
it is Battle Creek.
Hey,
It is Battle Creek. It is Battle.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Defend
yourself.
It was good to see everybody. It was really good. Good to see my coach. It was a lot of fun. Let's move on.
How was Coach? Is he good?
Coach is good, man. Yeah, he was the honorary first to go in, as well he should. That dude's a legend. He was great. You literally could have probably inducted the whole Schnitzler family. I mean, Linda and I went in together as the first athletes, and Rob was awesome. Mary was, I mean, the whole family just is unbelievable. So I think they just said, no, we got to have somebody different. So we'll have Haas do it.
Haas, we've just been kind of whipping around. We had Foreman in. We've had Damon in. Damon was bathing his child because Jenny basically just said, hey, bud, this is on you this morning. You get the kids ready for all this stuff. So
yeah, that's an odd thing to have on a Husker Hangover.
I was like, buddy, you could just come on later. That's fine. We don't need to hear Zobear splashing around in the background.
That dude's a mess.
Oh, dude.
He's a mess.
But this is a great day because he's going to realize how important she is.
Yep, exactly.
Importance to us, Nebraska, or Haas, and importance to Nebraska, the offensive line. Haas and I talked about it. Everybody's all worried about it. Aaron and I are in the camp of enough with the matrix. Let's just get some fat guys that can play football. Want to get your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when you say matrix, you're talking about the window. Like, I need a center this big, a guard this big, a tackle. Yeah, I've been on that train from day one. Maybe I could see where somebody would be like, "Oh yeah, of course you are. You're 5'10". That's what you two would say." Although you're both an inch shorter than I am.
5'9".
I've never believed in that. Honestly, and I hate to do this because he's on the show, but if there had been any type of matrix back in the day, Aaron Taylor doesn't win an Outland Trophy.
No.
I mean, he doesn't. But you know what Milt Tenneper did? He turned the film on. And Aaron would have ended up here. I mean, that's just a fact. Aaron knows it too. I mean, for me, I think, we've gotten almost too tall. Tackle position, like just the hip flexibility that it takes to be quick and move. The height requirements are really, it's not super relevant, but I was thinking about this morning. When was the last time, certainly from us, but from any team, when was the last time you guys really saw any cut blocking?
Yeah.
I don't understand why the cut block isn't utilized more. I mean, it wasn't just utilized; it was a staple of what we did.
Don't even get me. I mean, it's
why.
That's one of the biggest point of contentions for me. With any offensive line, right? I got two, right? Throw away the damn knee braces. Right?
Oh yeah.
Throw them away.
I never wear those.
Why? Why would you? Well, number one, I think it takes away your movement, right? Your lateral movement. I think it takes you. Well, I remember I sprained my MCL, right? Thank goodness it was during it was our redshirt freshman year, Haas.
Yep.
And they gave me one of those knee braces to put on, and it was horrendous. I didn't even wear it anymore. I put it on for like 30 minutes. But I think it restricts that, right? I would say this too to a college athlete, college lineman is, listen, man, the guys in the NFL get paid to do this and protect themselves and be available every game, right?
Yep.
You don't see one of them wear them. Not one. Nope. Tell me one NFL lineman that wears them. Throw them away. Get rid of them.
I could not possibly agree with you more. I love that. There's no way we would make some excuse not to wear them. We'd get a note from a doctor or something.
You've got it. To me, I think they restrict it so much. And then I'm with you 1,000,000% Haas on the cut blocks, right? The cut blocks just wear people out. Wear them out.
Yep.
Wear them out. And they don't want. And whenever you get in the vicinity, they're thinking one thing. protect my knees. Protect my knees. And if you have the opportunity just to slow them up, just a hitch, right? Just a little bit.
Yep.
And have them move, slow up just a little bit. That's all you got to do as a lineman. Because then you're going to have your running backs pop right through. That's all you got to do. Is just have them think for that minute and get right after them.
It's nailed it, the whole thing.
And then hopefully you blow out a knee or two.
Go back to, and I'm not, the insinuation here is not, and it's not a knock on the coaches, but I want them to go back to the film. I want them to go back and look at a film and say, who looks different on this film? And again, I mean, AT's film was like we watched zero high school film. You know, Moose put it in the thing. He goes, "Hey, watch this little turd from Wichita Falls Rider High School," and he was different on there, and he was this tall, but he's just crushing people. And so put the film on. If the guy's dominating on film, we got a guy, you know, Elkhorn South. We got a guy named Noah Bustard. He's 6 foot, 6'1". This dude is killing people. I mean, he's not going to go D1. He's certainly not going to go to Nebraska. He's going to go somewhere and play football. But this is a perfect example of a kid. If we didn't have the parameters, that is just an animal. He's a weight room kid. He's fast. I think we're missing out on a lot of potential talents because of the matrix. That's all I'm saying. Look for football players.
And as you go through that, you know, the cut block is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
You, especially out at the second level, you know, you're going to give up some speed to a linebacker, and it's just like, hey, man, I got to know an angle, and I got to know if I get my left shoulder and his left hip, he's going to go tumbling over. He's going to be pissed. That's going to be funny, and I'm just going to be like, hey, this is coming at you again. Do you guys think, and we get a lot of I talk a lot about it on here, but the hip flexibility, the bend, the athleticism of it, are those things that you can correct during an off week? Can you do, not fully correct, but can you work on them? Like, are there things behind the scenes you can do to get that stuff where you're just better at it the next week?
So I'll give a quick answer to you while you're mulling it. Can you fix it in a week? No, I don't personally think so. What we did is a lot of things in the off season to work on that. I think about the hurdle drills that we did, and it almost seemed impossible when we first started doing them. You're going under hurdles, and you know we're like gymnasts. You know, you're over, you're under, you're around. The jump ropes and things like that we did were all kind of tailored for us to have that flexibility, to have that movement, that explosive 1-2. You know, the boom booms, just the 1-2. Now, Milt never defined it to us or the strength staff as, you know, first, second step. It was never defined that way. It was just like they gave us the stuff to do it, and it worked. So I think it's more of an off-season thing. I don't know from game to game if you can work on that stuff first. Of course, you can work on it and throughout the season maybe get better. I think that's possible, but it really needs to be an off-season thing. It needs to start the day the season's done, and they need to. That's when you come back and you're kind of a different group.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, and you just kind of tell the people, right? So you mentioned what they call that, the gauntlet. Did we call that the gauntlet when we did the 100 yards down the field, right?
Yeah.
And they had the different things set up, and just so the people that
try to block that out.
See this, right, is you know, they'd have the hurdles set up in a line, and I don't know, would they have 10, 15 of them, and then they had them set at a certain height, and so you weaved underneath. And you weren't fast, right? But it was to weave underneath and to stretch and get the foot kicked out and pull and it wasn't slow by any means and deliberate, but it was man, you remember getting done and your hips were just on fire, right, on fire, and that was good, man. I still do things like that today, even as old as we are, just to loosen up and be able to move around.
So we don't have to get a new hip.
Yeah, right. That's right.
So what's T-bone? Are you lifting a leg over a chair, then you just walk under the next chair, then lift your leg over the next chair?
That's what, yeah. I do think so I don't fall, right? Fall and break that hip. Right? But yeah, I think Haas is 100% right. You know, a lot of that stuff, you know, the athleticism that needs to be done with some of these guys needs to be in the off season. You really can't do that and well, what they practiced 3 days this week, I think, or last week. Yeah, so I don't know. To me, if I was going to do it, what am I going to do with this offensive line? You know, they keep talking week to week that Mickey and Rayola are going to try to find the 5 best guys.
Mm.
You know, whatever that is. You know what I see a lot of, guys, and that I hope they worked on is you get these double teams right at the line of scrimmage, at the point of attack, and then you know they got to take that back to the mic or to the will. And that backer's coming on either side. They're missing that block, right?
Yep.
They're missing the get off on that backer that's filling the hole, and I see a lot of that, and it, whether they're just slow at it or not recognizing. I don't know what it is. I wish I was. Yeah, I'm with
It's
you.
eyes.
Yeah.
It's eyes.
Yeah, but
You
you
nailed
know,
it. It's their
I
eyes.
hope they're you just remember the repetitions. We did it every single day, 1,000 times a day, all the time, and that's just what you did, man. And I remember, you know, this, Hush, you substituted into left guard, and you know, Fred would push you off, or Dishman
Yep.
would push you off on the guy,
Yep.
and if you didn't see him, and so yeah, you know, you see a lot of that I think they need the reps, right? They keep talking and moving these guys around. We see it, you know, first series, 4 series. They're not good enough to have one set of 5 linemen yet to be able to move, and they got to find that 5, and they got to get them repped out.
But in that,
big
though,
time.
if you're going to rotate in that many guys, the amount of reps you have to get in those pairs in practice has to be in the thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better set up your 4 stations
everybody's
and get
different.
going.
You guys knew when you had a different tackle or a different center that, okay, this is going to be different than when that other guy was in. I got to make sure that this is that. But the thing for me is they go when they're on the double team and they want to butt with that head instead of getting that hand and extending that hand. Now you can see once your eyes bury into somebody's shoulder, you can't see a linebacker.
Yep.
It's physically
Right.
impossible.
Yeah, it's the eyes. I mean, you guys we're all saying the same thing, but it's you know, ironically, I work on guys our blocking scheme with my 12-year-olds. Yeah, you know, I mean it's a good team. They get to learn college scheme line blocking, but it's double team. It's double team, but the eyes are on the linebacker you're doubling to. So if you come up to the line, you hustle up to the line, you see the linebacker, so they should know who they're doubling to, which we always did. You know who you're doubling to. The only difference is in youth football, if that linebacker's walked up, he's coming. There's no joke. He's coming, so we come off immediately, where we had to still take a step. But your eyes have to be in the right spot. And if your eyes are in the right spot, you're going to find that guy. You're going to find him.
Do you think they can make a steady diet of finding 4 to 6 plays that they can run against everything with everybody and win?
Yeah, throw it to 3. That's 85%, and make sure he doesn't get tired. Yeah, they can. Sure, of course they can. They can. It's a that to me, just seeing what I've seen, and I don't know this because I don't know Whipple very well, and quite honestly, I don't know Mickey very well. Yeah. But it would have to be a directive that's handed down from Mickey. Mm-hmm. You know, because Whipple's a guy he is who he is. He said it. He said it on whatever, it was Twitter. It was in the news. It's like I you know, whatever he said, I'm gonna be a dick because that's how the kids respond. He's an old dude. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. So Mickey would have to tell him, this is what I want to do. I want to run these sets of whatever 6 plays, and I want to throw it to 3 as much as I possibly can outside of handing it to 10. Get your dudes the ball. So if Mickey decides that that's the direction he wants them to go, he's going to have to probably tell him. But there's no reason that they can't do that. The problem is what we alluded to earlier. You seem to have this influx of so many people, so many, and whether it be linemen, running backs, receivers, the consistency, the knowing. I mean, I knew exactly how Aaron Taylor blocked. Exactly. What did that tell me? It told me what he was going to do. I knew how he'd come off the ball. I knew if his intent was to try to cut. He didn't even have to give me a call. I knew exactly how he did it because I was with him every single day in practice. So to your point about thousands of reps, to some verse, that might sound like an exaggeration, but I don't know what the real number is. I mean, I certainly had thousands of reps with you guys. I mean, over the years, I don't know if that's in a year or what that is, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And they can do it. It's just a matter of if Coach Mickey if he wants to do that, then he's going to have to give the directive.
Go ahead, T.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got cut off earlier, but I was going to talk about the matrix of the players, right? I think one of the things that I would love to see, and maybe this is a little nostalgia on my part, right? But being an out-of-state kid, you think about guys, the recruiting classes when we walked in. What version? You walked in '92, we walked in '93,
Mhm.
and you take a look at the classes 3 to 4 years ahead of us. The amount of Nebraska or local area kids, right, if you will, um, on all of those classes, man, it was homegrown kids, and whenever you mentioned your kid from Elkhorn South, Matt, that just blowing people up, that's what that roster was full of, right? To me, there's something of going and getting these kids, man, that have grown up. They're farm raised, man. It's blue collar, it's work ethic, it's nasty, it's let's go, and then you sprinkle in, right, and just sprinkle.
Yep.
That's all you got to do, man. But I think a lot of it gets lost, right? And you can take this all the way back to when Callahan came in. You had those coaches, right? How many times do you guys go out and you see these old folks that are retired now, and they talk about, oh man, Coach McBride used to be here and come to town, and Coach Tenniper or Coach Young or Coach Darlington, right? But all these coaches would go out and work with all these high schools, right?
Yep.
They'd work with all these high schools, and from Callahan on, even Frost era, right? I always told Scott, man, you get your guys out and teach the high schools what you're doing. Teach them what you're doing, and have, not necessarily him, but have your staff go out and do this, right? Build your program within the state, right? Within the local high school levels, and then you start developing guys like you that can come through and work in that program and be a contributor for 2-3 years,
Yep.
and we just don't see that, and I think that's something that's important to do here in this state.
It's a relationship business. It cannot go out and build relationships with the people that are going to provide me the assets I need to succeed on the field. Can I put a name to a face? Can I see you? Can I think you care about my kids? And I'm coming from a high school coach aspect of it. When I know you care, we have that relationship. Now we're good. Like, we're good to go on things. Like, that's the part that has to be, kind of reconstructed in the state, is making sure that University of Nebraska at Lincoln knows that those guys that are down there want their kid to be there and want their kid to succeed and aren't just going to get pushed by the wayside. That was my fear. For the longest time with Hicks, I was like, well, he's just going to kind of get shuffled through the mix here. And honestly, until this year, he didn't have the best of seasons. But he's been consistent this year. Like, he's played well, but he ground through it because that's the kind of kid he is. But now, the shot he's got, I feel he's getting a legit opportunity. He's taking advantage of it. Yeah,
he's played well, Verse. We've had our conversations about him. He's good. One, he's a good kid, and two, he wants to learn.
Yeah.
But that kid he's worked his butt off. That actually is a really good example. I don't have a lot to add to that, guys. I mean, you're gonna be hard pressed to find an argument out of me and hunt down the local guys. I mean, that has to be the foundation. But I think even the bigger story is whoever the next head coach is, and if it's Coach Mickey, that's great. If it's another guy, that's fine too. Whoever that guy is needs to heed the most simplest of football tenets. If you're great on the offensive and defensive lines, you can win 7 and 8 every year without exception. There's a million running backs. There's a million quarterbacks. There's a million receivers. There's a finite number of really badass linemen on both sides of the ball. And if you start there, because every time I look at recruiting stuff, it's always about DBs and receivers and DBs and receivers and DBs. I don't know how many DBs and receivers we have on scholarship, but it seems like 60 of the 85. And that's meant, like, it really true, doesn't it? I mean, really feels that way.
There's a lot.
So whoever this dude is, if he focuses on line alone, and I've said this a million times to people, so they've heard it before. You know how I know for sure that they're going to win 7 or 8? Because it's what Iowa does every year.
Every year.
They're guaranteed, even as crappy as Petrus is, that you watch, they got three wins right now. They're going to win 6. They're going to find a way to win 6. because they have, first of all, they have a great defense, but they think about offensive and defensive line when they recruit. That's their number one priority, bar none. And then on that off chance, they get a Brad Banks or one of these elite level quarterbacks. That's the time when they win the 10, 11, 12 games. They know who they are. But you can win in this league with offensive and defensive line. And if the next coach knows that, then we'll be okay. If the next coach focuses on other things besides line, then we'll be mired in the same thing we've been in the last 20 years.
Here's your scholarship breakdown. You have 5 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 11 wide receivers, 7 tight ends, 14 O-line, 8 D-line, 8 linebackers, 6 edges, 4 nickels, 10 corners, 6 safeties, and 2 special teams specialists. So there's your breakdown with the 8 defensive linemen.
Yeah, it's focus. Focus on the big boys and getting it right. All those things play that we talked about. The matrix. Get the right dudes. Get the right ones, and then get your rotation back the way that. This is what I would do again, because it fits today. I would get 8 guys, my 8 studs, and I would get a swing tackle, a swing guard. Just like we used to do with our 7. We did 7 our senior year, but 8. You want 8 in an ideal. That's how you build a program. But again, I'm biased, but I've seen what works. I know what good looks like. Yeah. So get that down pat. I understand what they're doing, trying to get their best 5. But get the 5 in there. Get your 3 swings. Build your program up. It's the way to go. I just think it's so obvious. I don't know why that picture is so hard for some people.
Every level of football. Every
level.
I mean, there's nothing to say, right? I mean, it's every level.
I mean, people can say what they want, like Haas, I'll throw one right in your wheelhouse. But the Niners, everybody's all jacked up. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Trent Williams. You guys have stuff. Philadelphia, like, oh, man, we're awesome. Yeah, Jason Kelsey, pretty good. Like, real good at football.
Yes.
And just Lane Johnson, like, you got maulers on those things. I mean, that's what matters. Like, you can be great at whatever, but even the Buffalo Bills, the Morse guy that's their center, he was kind of the first one to revolt against the knee braces, and that guy's a stud. I mean, the great teams have great lines offensively and defensively. The Bills, for Christ's sake, went out and just was like, hey, what's Von Miller doing? Let's see if he wants to just join this wrecking ball crew that we have.
It does. You went up, Vers. I'll go down because my team always comes to your place, and you had DB on here. His team's good. This is Final Four, semifinals today. So first 3 years in this league, pretty breezy for us. We had a ton of athletes. It really was. The 4th year, but I had no linemen, and I told the guys, I said, "Here's what's going to happen. 6th grade year, these teams are going to get big, and we're going to get beat." And guess what happened? They got big, and we got beat. I mean, we don't have any linemen. We got a couple guys that grew a little bit, so we're a little better off, but. That is the place where we've really struggled. We've got athletes everywhere, and I literally have 6 dudes I play on the line, 0 depth. So it happens even in the youth game. It's not a coincidence. You have to build from the inside out. It's football 101. It's not pretty. It doesn't have the big panache that the big receiver and cornerback and all this crap. It doesn't have that. But it's what wins you football games. And so go find those guys. Go hunt them down. Go hunt down the badasses. Teach them how to cut block. Teach them the double team block. We'll win a whole bunch of games.
And
you got to get your guys out, right? Mickey's done a good job of getting these guys out. I got to say that, man. That guy's got a steep hill to climb, but he hasn't slowed down out on the recruiting trail. Those guys have been out, man. I've been pretty impressed with that. But you go out and uncover those rocks, man. Uncover those guys. Find them. And I was found. It wasn't because Scott Saltzman was recruited out of Wichita Falls, right? I was found because Coach Tinnifer and Coach Young were down in Dallas looking at a center, and their coach told him, "Hey, my center's going to the University of Texas, but if you want the best player in our district, you need to go to Wichita Falls and get that Aaron Taylor," right? Those are the kind of little gems you got to uncover, right? You go down, you talked about building relationships, right, with the coaches. I think that was you, Vers, that was talking about that and get a comfortability. You've got to get out and you've got to get comfortable with the coaches, the area, know it, and then they're going to tell you.
Yeah.
They're going to sit right there and look at you, Haas, and go,
Yep.
Hey, I like your player, and you're going, my player's going here, but man, you need to go over to Scud and get this kid that Verzal coaches, right? That's
Yep.
what you need. That's what you need. And that's all just on getting out and building relationships. And you're going to find them.
You will find them.
See, and that's, you'll know though, like it doesn't take long to watch film when you find the guy that just pops off the screen. Like he may not be everything you thought, but you watch it, his guy's always in motion backwards. He's always going forward on plays. You just have to put in the work to do it. T touched on it briefly. I want to get your guys' opinion on the job you think Mickey Joseph has done thus far as an interim head coach.
Yeah, I can go. You already talked about him, T, a little bit. I'm impressed, guys. I've had the opportunity to hang with Mickey a couple of times because I didn't know him. He was gone before we got there. At least me and T. I didn't know him at all. Never met him. He's got a cool demeanor. He's got a calm demeanor. I think he knows what he wants to get accomplished. He's not afraid to get in the coach's ass a little bit, his own guys, to challenge them, and that could be game day or otherwise. He knows exactly kind of what works and what doesn't work. And that's the beauty of being an assistant coach, is that you get to kind of pull from everybody and say, I like this, I like this, I like this, I don't like this. He's already made some fairly hefty changes, some of which probably aren't, don't always get advertised. But I've been impressed. I don't know for him what it's going to take, versus, quite frankly, to be the head man. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a reality, if that's where Trev's head is. But if he were to have a chance to get this, I mean, I can tell you, at least from my chair, I got a former Husker there that I've been impressed with so far. I wouldn't have a problem with this at all. And in fact, if one strategy is to take a guy like Mickey and have him be the head man and say, all right, we're going to build you up. You're a first-year head coach. And I'm talking the dollars and cents of the deal. Maybe you don't pay him as much and you lay incentives on him, but you tell him you're going to go hire the best offensive and defensive coordinators in the United States, and you have an open checkbook to go do that. We're going to get the most elite offensive and defensive line coaches you can possibly find. And again, Mickey may decide to keep a bunch of these guys. I don't know, but give him an open checkbook to go do that. I would love to see something like that. But I've been impressed with Mickey. I think his leadership is really good. I think the boys respond to him. And you can tell the team's fighting like hell for him. So that speaks volume about him as a leader.
Yeah, I'd echo that. I'm not I don't know, man. I a lot of times I put myself in Trev's shoes. What would I do, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things you want to do is you get rid of Scott. You want to bring somebody in that's going to do a good job for you and try to salvage what they can. And I think Mickey's exceeded that so far, right? But he's coming right into the gauntlet of a schedule here that's going to be tough for him, right? Illinois is going to be tough, man. It's going to be real tough. So I'm real curious to see how this next little stretch goes for Mickey, right, and the staff. Do I think this is the make it or break it for him? I don't know. I don't think so, but I'm not in Trev's head. I think with that being said, I think Mickey's hill is steep, man. I think it's real steep, and I think he's traversed it pretty good so far, right? But he's got to be sitting here thinking, what am I going to do for an interview, right? I'm worried about coaching this team. I got to go recruit players just like I'm going to be the head coach, but he's still got to prep for an interview. He's got to roll in at the end of the year and say, Trev, this is my short list for offensive coordinators. This is my short list for D coordinators. This is who I plan on keeping. I like Vince in our recruiting area. We're going to keep this, and this is our plan. This is our year one plan. This is our year two plan, and he needs to lay it all out. Right now, I don't know if he has the time to even think about that, right? Because he's got the next game. He's got Illinois that's going to come in, and we're all going to judge Mickey based upon Illinois. So he's got to focus on that, right? So I don't know. I think his hill's really steep. To your point, Haas, if he's named head coach, I don't have a problem with it. One of the things I worry about is, is not necessarily his coaching tree, but does he have the connections with these great coordinators that you talked about, right? He was at LSU, but before that, he was toiling around in the lower levels. And so does he have that Power 5 coordinator or 3 that he can go talk to and say, I need you here in Lincoln, right?
But
Can he do that?
Much those we talked about players being under the radar. There's coaches that are under the radar that are buried down in those smaller programs that might be legit.
Yep. And then I think you have a faction of people, and I'm kind of in this boat a little bit too. Is and again, it's not saying I'm against Mickey at all, but man, I'm kind of done with the new head coach thing, right?
First time,
the first timers, you know, in the Power 5 level, at this level, right? They're good coaches in the Big Ten, man, and I'm kind of done with that. I'm kind of done with break in Scott to the Big Ten or break in Bo Pelini to the Big Ten. And I'm not talking about going and hiring a coach like Mike Riley that has experience as a head coach, right? I want a winning head coach that's been at the Power 5 level, right?
Good clarification.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, who that is, I don't know. Again, I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy with Mickey if that's the case too, and provide all the support that I can. I know you guys will do the same, but man, they've got an interesting next 60 days to get this thing figured out.
How confident do you feel in the process Trev's going to use to figure this out? I mean, it's been thrown around quite a bit. You need a program builder that takes you into your Leipold, your Kleinmans, you know, those kind of guys. Do you think Trev's plan is intact for this?
I do, man. Trev's not a dummy, right?
Yeah.
Trev's not a dummy. He's, you know, you get a lot of people that they're mad at him because he cut football or wrestling at UNO and those kind of things. And, you know, one of the things I say is Trev's a football guy, right? Yeah. He wouldn't have came to UNO if he knew he had to cut football within a year, right? He wouldn't have done that. That's career suicide. But he found a way through it, right? And I think he's going to be reaching out to enough. I think he has his own idea, which he kind of let us know in his press conference there on the type of coach he's looking for. I think he's reaching out to enough people. I think one of the things I do love about the whole thing, man, it's tight-lipped. It's tight-lipped, and I think it's in today's age that's tough, right? Mm-hmm. But I think if anything gets out, man, let's just say he's going after Aranda, right? Let's just talk about that. And if he gets out that he's talking to Aranda's agent in the middle of the season, Aranda's going to be pissed. He's like, you can go pound sand, man. I'm staying here, right? I don't need my name leaked out on a coaching search, you know, in the middle of the season and potentially ruin my season. So I like the fact that it's been quiet. But, man, I tell you what are we on the last half of October? About 3 weeks, that stuff's going to start coming out. Because what do we have to have by the end of Black Friday weekend? So yeah, somebody that's probably hired because of that early signing period.
That's got to be the goal, T. Yeah, that's got to be the goal to get them hired by Thanksgiving because of the early signing period. That's got to be the goal. Trev's a smart dude. Let's not underestimate his connections in the college football community from his days at College Game Day. You know, that's certainly one avenue that he'll use. He's got an outside firm. I think he knows kind of what he wants overall, but I think Trev is not going to just have one dude in mind. I think he's definitely going to entertain Mickey as an option. I think he definitely will. I think he's going to look at a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of experiences. But, you know, we're going to get all the junk right now, guys. You know that. I mean,
hey, if you were sitting in the catbird seat, would you go after – if you were sitting in the catbird seat, would you go after an offensive-oriented coach or defensive-oriented coach?
This is a great – rare is it that I don't have a strong opinion on this. Not only do I not have a strong opinion, I don't even know who I want. Like, if you just said, Hoss, you're going to make the call. You're going to make the call. Who do you want? I don't have the answer for you. I have a couple of guys. I have a couple. But again, this for me is not as hard as people are making it. I don't think you have to be that specific, T.
What about as a fan? What about as a fan for me? I want our black shirts to be nasty. Yeah, right? No, I want to go get a defensive guy that's going to, hey, let's put heads to bed, baby. Let's go.
Yes.
Right?
Nebraska
so,
fan
again,
does.
I don't know. But as a fan, I don't know. I don't know who that is. I'm like you. I don't know who it is. But
how much
I want them nasty, baby.
The reason I say it like that is how much did T.O. really affect what happened on the defense? I mean, I know he was involved. T.O. was brilliant, right? But how much did he really affect that? That's Charlie's world.
It's just Charlie's deal.
So if you hire a Lane Kiffin, an offensive guy, I'm just using Lane because he's an offensive guy. You hire a Lane Kiffin, you think he's not going to hire a great defensive coordinator? I mean, he's going to go find somebody that can run a defense. I just want somebody to be able to say to whomever it is, if they're not a Big Ten guy, if it was a Lane Kiffin or Randa or like whomever, and they don't have Big Ten experience, get the lines right. Hey, let me tell you this to you 7,000 times so you hear me loud and clear. Get the lines right, get the lines right, get the lines right. All your cute offense and your boom, 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 that's all well and good. But if your lines are not good, you will not win in this league. You won't. So it's just a simple message. I mean, it can't be easier than that. So get your lines right. Then you can run your cute little passing trees and everything that you want to do. But you can't do any of that if your line stinks. You can't.
Yeah, it's a well. That's kind of the reason you hear, right? Don't go after your Big 12 coaches, right? Because that's that whole Big 12 style won't translate into Big 10. I don't know, man. It's interesting. I had no idea. But you're 100% right. Get your line right. Get your line
Here's
right.
where I'm at. Get me a leader of men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Get me a guy that's willing to accept the challenge of some kids that have had the run of the place for quite a while. I need somebody that's going to come in with discipline. I need somebody that's going to come in with accountability. I need somebody that's going to come in and teach them that this isn't just about Nebraska going out and winning games. This is the rest of your life, how you're going to choose to live, what you're going to choose to do. And I need you to have somebody that can realize the importance of that, but then get them to say, hey, you may go into something undermanned. Aaron and Haas do it every day. You're undermanned when you go out there to do whatever you're going to do. But you realize as long as you enter, you got a chance. And you can outwork everybody. You can out-scheme everybody. You can out-learn everybody. You can do these things. But to me, I wish I could say it'd be an offensive guy. Maybe there's a genius out there that's a defensive-oriented guy that is just a leader of men. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. Somebody just to get the discipline. Like, no one will fully comprehend the disciplined life that we led for the
sounds to me like you're talking about the Kansas State and Kansas coach, right?
90%.
Right? I mean, talk about being undermanned and well coached.
I think there's others out there. They can do it. Like
But exactly what you're talking about, right? You take a look at Leipold down at Kansas. That's exactly what it is. He's undermanned, but he's disciplined. Yeah. He's got those kids believing. There's no reason. Obviously, they lost their starting QB, right? And that's affected them big time. I think it affects any college program. But man, you talk about the way he to have game day at Kansas, right? Because they're on a roll. That's a big deal, man. And that's exactly what it is. It's being a leader of men. And there's many more out there. I don't know, but I don't know who it is, man. I'm glad I'm sitting out here in my little acreage and not having to worry about that on a Sunday like Trev is.
I think that would be. I will do it. I will take this on. I already told you my strategy. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
and I'll manage the clock better than pretty much anybody in college football does. I'll give Mickey this. If you're doing it based on this, I love how the dude manages the clock. Actually, a head coach that looks at the clock. He knew what he wanted to do at the end of the Rutgers game, and he executed it. It's like college coaches are paid $5-6 million. They don't know how to manage seconds. Come on, man. Mickey did.
He did well. He did well.
I thought it was. Hey, he said. I want my defense. How great
was it for him to be looking like this?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's looking at it and he's timing it right, and to see them slow down at the line of scrimmage, and milk it.
Brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's been a long time coming. The simple things, right? The simple things.
Yeah. Back to the coaching thing. I think Mickey is a leader of men, and I know we don't want to take a shot on another first-time head coach. Number two, Taylor. One of the highlights of my week is Sunday when Haas and the Junior Storm and the rest of the coaches and the players and the wives come in, and Haas will just sit there with this perplexed look, and he'll say, how in the fuck can nobody in any level of college football except sixth grade football in Omaha, Nebraska understand clock management? He said, I see it in pros, I see it in college. He goes, the only ones to do it right are us.
It's terrible.
He goes, I am literally the best at this. That's all I do. because I manage the clock.
See, I paid attention at Battle Creek High School. I can manage, what the difference between 10 seconds and 20 seconds. I mean, I don't get it. I'll never get it. But it was so heartwarming for me to see Mickey manage the clock, because it's embarrassing that college coaches that are paid handsomely can't do it. Anyway,
it's not just us, right? I mean, you hit the plural coaches
at all levels.
It's crazy to me, and getting paid what they get paid.
Saving the timeout they have at the end of the game for the next game and seeing if it'll roll over and they get 4 now. I mean, that's always that's a fun one.
Yeah,
put that in your pocket just in case they let you have it.
I was telling some coworkers. I said, Frost. It's at the beginning of the year. I'm like, Frost needs to hire me. I need to be hired at Nebraska to be the no man, right? To just sit there with the headset and tell them no,
nope,
no. Don't do that. No.
I always told them if you had me in the headset, if I was your line coach and on 3rd and a foot, you're in shotgun, I'm the guy screaming. I said, you would not want that. I'm the guy screaming to run quarterback sneak. I would be screaming. You'd have to take your headset off. You'd have to take it off.
Man.
Could you imagine if all of us got hired?
There'd be a lot of arguments, but we'd be on the same page most of the time. But there'd be there's some headstrong folks. Yeah, we'd have a pretty staunch opinion.
We've got tons of suggestions in the comments to fix everything from chicken bone seances to many other things in there. I'll get you guys out of here on this because you've been very gracious with Husker Hangover in your time today. 5 left. I'm going to do it to you. I'm going to say win-loss, and then you can extrapolate however much you want out of that. What's Nebraska's record these last 5, fellas? Aaron, we'll start with you.
Oh, run them down for me again. We've got Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin,
Michigan,
Iowa.
Boy, how about Wisconsin playing well now?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, by the way, quick insert. How about Jim Leonard shuts his mouth because he was the first one's like, oh, this is way too early to fire a guy. Trev made the call. It's Trev's call. But now you get a guy fired that's got 96 wins. Like, where you at, Jimmy? Why don't you got nothing to say about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Pump the brakes there, sport.
Yeah, it's probably a good move on their part to keep him. I don't know. I don't like Chris. But anyhow, you know what? I'm going to go. Hell.
Whoa.
All right, you there? I'm going to go. I'm my bad. I'm going to go 3-2. I'm going to be on the positive end of this thing. Yeah.
Are we being just one clarification question? Are we being what I'm rooting for and hoping for? Or am I being realistic?
Realistic.
1-4.
Well, come on now. All right, go ahead.
And I don't know.
Then I'll redo mine.
I know it's not coming from Michigan. That's the only one I know it's not coming from. So really, we have 4 games. So I'm looking at a 4-game set. I was on the road, and their defense is unreal.
Yeah.
We can win that game. Wisconsin, depending on which team shows up, we can win that game. Minnesota's been Jekyll and Hyde, but I worry a lot about their running game against our defense. And Illinois' defense is pretty good. I'm not really sold on their offense. I think we can win any one of them. Mm-hmm. But if I'm giving you a realistic, based on
they've got the only 1,000-yard rusher in the Big Ten right now.
Yeah,
are we going to stop that?
You mean do you mean to tell me that Bielema came into the Big Ten and built offensive and defensive lines in a running game? Is that what you're telling me?
What a novel concept.
What was he
thinking?
Hell of a
concept, right?
What was he thinking?
Right.
Got been at every frat party on campus too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care don't worry about quarterback. Don't worry about receiver. Don't worry about any DBs. Don't worry about any of that. Just give me O-line, D-line, or running back, and I'll win.
So you give me what? Are you giving me 2? 1-4? I think realistically, I'm all right. If we're gonna do realistically, I do the 2 and 3, right? I think your wins are going to be Minnesota, Iowa.
So you got them off Iowa Schneid.
I don't know why I'm on the Brett bandwagon for Illinois in regards to kind of exactly what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
O-line play and running game, and we struggle mightily with that. and you got Nick out at linebacker.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's going to be the struggle, and it's going to be exactly what you're talking about too, Haas. You're going to have him controlling the clock with the run game.
That's what Minnesota does too. I mean,
Yeah.
literally all of them are going to do that.
Boy, Minnesota gets some big old linemen.
I do hope the one, if it is only the one, I do hope the one is on Black Friday. I
do too. Yeah.
One.
As a fan, I'm going to go 3-2 though. That's what I'm sticking.
I can jump all day on that. I was trying to get. I didn't know if we were going as a Husker fan because I'm gonna go 5-0. Like we can do it. We can. No,
man. Why do I do that every year, man? Why do I go into the season and go, man, we can win 10 games?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I get
every year.
Over 6.5 wins. I know I do somewhere in this house.
So you haven't come to terms with just catching hell. Like that thing started, I was like, listen, man, just get to 500. Like, just get to 500. We haven't played a game. 500 is where we want to be. Oh, but the schedule's so much worse. And I was like, did we pay attention to Brett Bielema at Illinois? Like, his first year, he got us. And now he's going to get more time with these linemen and what they do. Like, please, just 600, like 500.
Hey, you talk. I can't remember the exact quote, but man, he got into his players early.
Yeah.
Whenever he came in, I can't remember what he said, but I remember he was talking about his roster, and I'm going, oh man, you're going to lose half of your guys because you're talking about them not being good enough to play or can't even believe they're on scout. Whatever it was, I can't remember, but I'm just going, whoo. The way you approach this, man, you're not going to start out well here. And here we are in year 2, and what is he now? 5-1,
ranked,
but
number 1 defense in the country.
But I'll guarantee that they went in before and said, hey, here's what I'm going to say. You can accept this challenge. You cannot. It's up to you. Because guess what? That guy behind you, I kind of like him. And I think he's pretty good. And he's willing to listen to me say this about you. And he's going to go take the baton and run. So it's up to you. Portal's that way. Winning's this way. Which way everybody want to go at. I'm going to say this about you. You need to hear this because you're not meeting your potential.
Man, how about the portal changing the game, man, completely?
The portal.
I mean, completely. You know, so this is another thing too, right? That you can talk about whenever you're building your staff, right? So you're a coach. You're going to build your staff. Are you going to go out and are you going to hire a developer of men, right, to go develop that offensive line or that defensive line? Or are you going to go out and get that recruiter that can go out and find those guys? You know, whether it's at the high school level or JUCO or portal, right? Well, man, do you balance that out? How do you do that, man? I
have an answer.
Tell me.
You have both. Yeah. You have both. Your defensive and offensive line guys need to be developers of men because you have depth there and you don't have as many portal guys. I mean, you might in volume because of the number of positions, but not as many guys jump immediately to the portal because if I'm not a starting left guard, maybe I can play center. Maybe I can play tackle. Maybe I can play elsewhere. If I'm not the starting quarterback, I'm out. So receivers, DBs, like some of these ones when they're like, hey, I'm a prima donna, I'm out. Those are the recruiters. Those are the Fishers of the world that can go out and just recruit dudes. I think your offensive and defensive line coaches need to be developers of talent.
Here's the other thing, though. We act like the portal didn't exist. Like Konstantin Dimitrescu, Jim Stiebel, the people leave all the time. They all leave. It's the development behind it is probably where that's how I would combat portal, but I would have guys that are real good salesmen. Making sure, hey, I like this kid when he came out of high school. I don't know what happened over there. Let's get back in touch with him. But you can't fear them leaving because they're going to leave. It's just we had tons of talent leave. And it's just like, well, okay, whatever. See you later, dude. We're going to go do some other stuff.
We had a bunch. leave. Remember that? Who was that kid we had from Keller? Came in Keller, Texas, and he just talked nonstop. Blew his knee out. Man, we ran him off in no time.
Sean Noster?
No. Noster actually wasn't a bad player.
He was a freak.
Blasphemy.
No, he was a lineman.
Yeah, he's a lineman. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Same
with Constantine. He was a parade All-American. Marcus Johnson, parade All-American, and they came in and they were terrible.
Jimmy Stiebel was the best guard in Illinois. It's like, dude.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Marcus Johnson was a cat in a hat, remember?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. He did look like the cat in the hat. Good dude. Looked like the cat in the hat, though.
Yeah, it's awesome. Dude.
Well, boys, Nance says you did a fantastic job.
We love Nance.
She's enjoyed listening.
You bet.
Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you hopping on. We'll do this again, definitely through the last 5 of the season. Being that
Good luck, Hoss.
You both hate Nebraska and picked them at 1-4.
Stop it.
I'm at 3-2. So I'm in. I'm buying.
I'm rooting for 4-1. I want these boys to go to a bowl. Selfishly, I want Sam to go to a bowl game, man.
Yeah,
I mean, how fun are bowl games?
They're awesome.
Just go.
Man, that's another thing. I want to touch on it just real quick.
You're
right?
fine.
I think I think people need to realize, right? Because you hear a lot of you guys from the 90s, this and that, right? You know what needs to be done. I think more than anything, we want the kids to experience what we experienced.
Yes.
There was not a better time in our life than all of us going to bowl games. And it's not always winning the national championship, just the experiences we had going to do that. I want those kids to experience that because it is life-changing. It is something that will stick with them forever. And, man, if we can go 4-1 and get to that bowl game, let's get to a bowl game. Let those guys go experience and have fun.
Yeah.
I am a little jealous that I don't get an Xbox or we didn't get any of that. But, hey, we had free food down in the break room, right?
Yeah, what are you talking about? We got those sweet tuxedos, that teal, blue, gold. Pink.
Remember the Fiesta Bowl sun jacket, the worst jacket ever produced by any human ever?
Oh, I still got it.
It's the worst thing ever.
When Apex is your sponsor, that's what you get.
Yep.
Apex. Yeah.
Oh, boys, love you. Thank you so much for coming on, and have a great rest of your Sunday. Haas, good luck in your old guys using young guys to compete against each other matches.
That's right. Love it.
You got any rivals at Millard North?
No, they're a really good team. They got the right 4 teams. It's whoever plays better today is going to win. That's it.
Go get them. Go get them.
Scale of 1 to 10. How bad do you want to go win this one and then beat Damon?
14 and a half.
Go beat Damon.
Does he
go beat Damon, man?
In the city like he does for the varsity team?
Hey, Damon's distracted now. He's not focused on youth football. He's got radio shows, and pretty soon this dude's going to be running ESPN and whatever. He's not focused on this. He's got to get dialed in.
He does. He does have to do that. Boys, thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening, participate in the show. Matt Verzal, Matt Hoskinson, Aaron Taylor signing off for Husker Hangover. Be good.
See ya.
See ya.